Hello and welcome to Dave's Delightful Dishes. As always, I'm Dave, and it is such a delight to have you here visiting me today in my kitchen. And today, I have a challenge. A bunch of my international friends, my Korean friends, you know who you are, said to me when they were watching some of my videos, hey, can you do Korean food too? And yes I can. So today I'm going to make something special. It's going to be a bulgogi bowl with some sides. Let's check it out. So after a quick trip to my local Korean market, I was able to get the supplies I needed to make this today. Now, if you want to, there's nothing at all wrong with just getting a bulgogi pre-made sauce or like marinade and marinating the meat that way. But one of the things you do need is, first off, these ingredients for the marinade and the meat. And you need meat that is sliced pretty thin. Now at the Korean market, actually this stuff was actually a little bit too thin. This is more of like a shabu style, but because I'm going to be cooking this in a pan, and we'll talk about that later, it'll be fine for today. But if you get a piece of ribeye, and ribeye is really best for this, you can put it in the freezer until it gets stiff enough so that it resists you when you cut. Then you want to cut between 2 and 3 millimeter thickness slices. And that'll be ideal if you want to put this on like a charcoal grill or a brazier, where for me, I'm going to be cooking this in a pan today because of how I want to do this with the bowl. So the thinner meat's no problem. But we need to take all those ingredients, and the other ingredient that's going to be hard to find unless you're in Asia or have a good Asian market near you is an Asian pear. So I'm going to peel this and cut this down, and then we're going to take all those ingredients for the marinade, and we're going to head over to one of my food processors and work on that. Okay, so now I've peeled and just kind of roughly chopped the Asian pear, as well as this half an onion and the brown sugar. Remember, all amounts will be in the description below. Ginger, garlic, a little bit of sesame oil, mirin, or kind of sweet rice wine with cooking, and then some ground black pepper, and 6 tablespoons of soy sauce. So this is about to get really loud. And we just keep on blending that together until it's a nice, smooth mass. And then that is going to be ready to pour onto our meat. So I'll see you back at the main workstation. Now you'll often hear me say, if you wash your hands, you can touch your food, but some things are just kind of messy. So I'm gloving up, and I'm taking my beef, and I've got about 1.5 pounds of very thin sliced beef in there. It's all ribeye. And we're going to pour the marinade, which smells amazing, right on top of this. And then I'm going to have to manually mix this together. And what you'll find is when it's this thin, these little thin slices, maybe they'll come all the way apart alone. Maybe they won't, but I'm just trying to split this up so that it's in nice chunks, and the marinade is going to get all the way through it. So now that I've manually manipulated this for a little bit, I'm going to lose these gloves, put a lid on this, and this will go in the fridge for at least 4 hours. You can also let this sit overnight, and it'll have even greater flavor at that point, but you need a minimum of 4 hours. So I'm going to get this taken care of, and I'll see you tonight. Okay, so while we're waiting for the bulgogi to finish marinating, we've got a side dish we got to put together, and it is Korean cucumbers. I Unfortunately, I don't know the word well enough to be able to give a chance at doing the Korean version of it, but they are Korean-style pickled cucumbers. And they're a great side, real quick and easy. We're going to take these ingredients, and we're going to put them together. So the first thing we got to do is I'm going to take, in this case, an English cucumber. Cut the ends off of it. And then about a 1/4 inch thick, I'm going to thinly cut this whole cucumber up. Just like this. Ta-da! And now that that's all sliced up, we need to put that into a container. Kind of separate them as much as you can. And then I need to take a tablespoon of coarse salt, in this case kosher salt. And I'm going to drop that on top. And when I put this lid on, I'm going to give it a good shake so there's coverage. And then we're going to let this sit for 15 minutes. Okay, so 15 minutes have elapsed, and I took the cucumbers out of the little brine that they were being made, that they were in, and I rinsed them and then patted them dry with paper towels, and they're right here. And I know what that was doing. That was starting to pull the moisture out and prepare these cucumbers for being pickles, especially since these are going to be quick pickles. So now I got to take the bowl, which I've cleaned, and I need to put in all of my sauce ingredients. And the ingredients are going to, the ingredient volumes will be in the description below this video. But gochujang, some sugar, some red pepper flake. There is a Korean version of this, which I could not find because I don't read Korean, but I had red pepper flakes, so I'm using that today. I think it's an acceptable substitute. Rice wine vinegar, minced garlic, about a teaspoon's worth of sesame seeds, which I'm going to put in after once we get this all mixed up, and then just a couple of drops of sesame oil. Mix that all together. I got to put my onions in and the cucumbers. And depending on coverage, because we're going to let this sit for at least a half an hour, but depending on coverage, we can add more gochujang if we need to. I mean, that's just red pepper sauce. It's easy enough. And now I'm going to put in about a teaspoon's worth of sesame seeds. And I just got to give this a good mix up. And I'm going to put up a picture of before and then after at the end of this so that you can see the difference. But then this just now needs to sit together and start becoming pickles. So I'll see you later this evening when we're ready to make dinner. All right, so I've got a hot pan here, and I have one small onion that I've sliced thin, and we're going to put some of that out on the plate. Because one of the neat things about Korean barbecue is, you kind of make it as you go. So rather than making a giant mass of it, I can make it for smaller numbers. And I got just enough cooking oil in here to kind of coat the pan. And something with a high smoke point is what you're looking for. I'm using peanut oil here, but you can use, there's lots of different types. Just stay away from olive oil. And then just let those onions kind of just get thin for a second, because this part goes really quickly. As you can see, the meat has marinated. Now, if this was the thicker style, if I cut this thicker to go out on the barbecue, it'd be individual pieces. But because this was paper thin, it's kind of blended together in the marinade. And that's why we're going to cook this on the pan. And it's going to end up being almost like cheesesteak. Get some of that on, get it spread out. Get a nice single portion's worth out there. Maybe a double portion. And we're going to keep this on high heat. And as I'm going to let it, and as it cooks, I'm going to start kind of breaking it apart so it ends up being like pieces rather than being just one big mass. All right, so we're going to let this cook. But to give you an idea, this does cook quite quickly. See, that's already starting to brown a little bit. So we're going to let this go probably 2 or 3 minutes. And as soon as it's cooked through, we're going to move it on to our final preparation. All right, so it's come into these kind of like nice strips. And you can see it's cooked through, and the onions are now browned. And the smell coming off of this from all that marinade is spectacular. So we're going to bring this over to the workstation so that we can finish plating. Okay, so here we are. I've got a nice bowl with some rice in it. Now, you can use whatever kind of rice you like. This happens to be a short grain brown rice, but you can use any rice that you feel you'd like to have here. I like mine a little bit on the stickier side. So I'm going to take some of this bulgogi meat. Oh, that smells and looks good. And I'm going to put that on 1/3 of the bowl. And then I got the onions in there with it. And now I'm going to take some kimchi and go on another 1/3 of the bowl. A little bit more. And then I've got the cucumber salad. Gonna lay some of that out. And then I have a couple. You could put a fried egg here and that would be wonderful. But I have a couple of quail eggs because I happen to have quail eggs in the fridge for something else I was doing. And I thought, wouldn't that just be delicate and wonderful? So a couple of those quail eggs in the middle. And then I'm going to take my sesame seeds and give us a nice shaky, shaky, shaky all over. And then, you know, depending on what you want flavor-wise, there's sesame oil. There's some gochujang. You know, you can add as much of that as you want. But remember, it's spicy. And I've got a lot of spice in this already. But, you know, as far as that sauce goes, you can always use soy sauce if that's what you're looking to do. But here is a nice bowl. It's hot, it's ready, it smells wonderful, and it's delightful. Now, to all my Korean friends, and you know who you are, don't take this personally. Obviously, this is my take on a Korean dish, not an authentic Korean dish. But I did use a lot of authentic ingredients, and hopefully it's something that looks pretty good to you. It certainly looks good to me. Let me know later. And for the rest of you, let me know in the comments what you think, and let me know what you'd like me to try next. I'm always looking for new challenges. You can check me out at Dave's Delightful Dishes Facebook page, which will be linked in the description below, as will my Instagram. Both of these are great places to let me know things that are on your mind, and you can check out some behind-the-scenes stuff, like dishes that I'm not showing that I'm cooking, but I'm not showing on the show, ideas I have going for the future, and you know, some other stuff that's going on with the channel. And there's also my Spreadshirt account, which has all my merchandise, where you can get aprons and coffee mugs and other types of merchandise, and you know you'd like something with my face on it. Go check it out. Besides that, if you haven't already, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next recipe.